The bus was full. We couldn't get on.
A woman got into the car and drove off.
Sarah is leaving tomorrow and coming back on Saturday.
When I touched him on the shoulder, he turned round.
Sorry I'm late. The car broke down.
Look out! There's a car coming. It was my first flight. I was nervous as the plane took off.
How was the exam? How did you get on?
My French isn't very good, but it's enough to get by.
Why did you run away from me?
You're walking too fast. I can't keep up with you.
We looked up at the plane as it flew above us. Are you looking forward to your trip?
I turned on the light.
Or,
I turned the light on.
but,
I turned it on.
can you fill in this form?
Or,
Can you fill this form in?
but,
They gave me a form and told me to fill it in.
don't throw away this box.
Or,
Don't throw this box away.
but,
I want to keep this box, so don't throw it away.
I'm going to take off my shoes.
Or,
I'm going to take my shoes off.
but,
These shoes are uncomfortable. I'm going to take them off.
don't wake up the baby.
Or,
Don't wake the baby up.
but,
The baby is asleep. Don't wake her up.
How did the thieves get in?
Here's a key so you can let yourself in.
Lisa walked up to the edge of the pool and dived in.
I've got a new apartment. I'm moving in on Friday.
As soon as I got to the airport, I checked in.
I'm moving in next week.
I'm moving into my new flat on Friday.
He just stood up and walked out.
I had no key, so I was locked out.
She swam up and down the pool and then climbed out.
Andy opened the window and looked out.
What time do we have to check out?
He walked out.
He walked out of the room.
I dropped in to see Chris on my way home.
They were playing cards, so I joined in.
The fridge isn't working because you haven't plugged it in.
Please fill in the application form and send it to us by the 28th of February.
The man said he was a policeman, and I believed him. I was completely taken in.
There wasn't anything to eat at home, so we decided to eat out.
Gary went to university, but dropped out after a year.
I promised I'd go to the wedding. I don't want to go, but I can't get out of it now.
There was a beautiful picture in the magazine, so I cut it out and kept it.
In the sentence, she said that she was ill, you can leave out the word that.
Some of the names on the list had been crossed out.
Suddenly, all the lights in the building went out.
We managed to put the fire out.
I turned the lights out before leaving.
We don't need the candle. You can blow it out.
Rachel works out at the gym 3 times a week.
Good luck for the future. I hope everything works out well for you.
Why did James leave the company?
Things didn't work out.
The total bill for 3 people is £84.60. That works out at £28.20 each.
345 times 76. I need to do this on paper. I can't work it out in my head.
Soldiers are expected to carry out orders.
An investigation into the accident will be carried out as soon as possible. They used to be very good friends. I'm surprised to hear that they have fallen out.
David fell out with his father and left home.
The police never found out who committed the murder. I just found out that it's Helen's birthday today.
I checked a few websites to find out about hotels in the town.
At the end of the lecture, the speaker gave out information sheets to the audience.
As we drove through the city, our guide pointed out all the sights.
I didn't realize I'd made a mistake until somebody pointed it out to me.
We ran out of petrol on the motorway.
There are a few problems we need to sort out.
All these papers are mixed up. I'll have to sort them out.
Nobody believed Paul at first, but he turned out to be right.
The weather wasn't so good in the morning, but it turned out nice later.
I thought they knew each other, but it turned out that they'd never met.
The company is trying out a new computer system at the moment.
Shall I leave the lights on or turn them off? Is the heating on?
No, I switched it off.
We need some boiling water, so I'll put the kettle on.
I haven't listened to this CD yet. Shall I put it on?
What's all that noise? What's going on?
The open-air concert had to be called off because of the weather.
The wedding has been put off until January.
We can't put off making a decision. We have to decide now.
My hands were cold, so I put my gloves on.
I've put on 2 kilograms in the last month.
I tried on a jacket in the shop, but it didn't fit me very well.
It was warm, so I took off my jacket.
Tomorrow I'm off to Paris.
Or,
Tomorrow I'm off on holiday.
Diane got on her bike and rode off.
Mark left home at the age of 18 and went off to Canada.
We set off very early to avoid the traffic.
After a long delay, the plane finally took off.
Helen was going away. We went to the station with her to see her off.
Shall we stop at this petrol station, or shall we drive on to the next one?
the party went on until 4 o'clock in the morning. We can't go on spending money like this. We'll have nothing left soon.
I don't want to carry on working here. I'm going to look for another job.
Don't let me disturb you. Please carry on with what you're doing.
He keeps on criticizing me. I'm fed up with it.
How are you getting on in your new job?
Joanne and Karen don't get on. They're always arguing.
Richard gets on well with his neighbours. They're all very friendly.
I must get on with my work. I have a lot to do. The lecture wasn't very interesting. In fact, I dozed off in the middle of it. Have you finished painting the kitchen?
Nearly. I'll finish it off tomorrow.
A bomb went off in the city centre, but fortunately nobody was hurt.
Did you hear the alarm go off?
We wanted to go to the exhibition, but we were put off by the long queue.
What put you off applying for the job? Was the salary too low?
Did you really pay £2,000 for that painting? I think you were ripped off.
Look at that boy on the bike riding with no hands. He's just showing off.
Claire's mother told her off for wearing dirty shoes in the house.
I put a picture up on the wall.
I didn't like the picture, so I took it down.
There was a letter on the floor. I picked it up and looked at it. I stopped writing and put down my pen.
Alan stood up and walked out.
I bent down to tie my shoelace.
I can't hear the TV. Can you turn it up a bit? The oven is too hot. Turn it down to 150 degrees.
Some old houses were knocked down to make way for the new shopping centre.
Why did you cut down the tree in your garden?
A man was knocked down by a car and taken to hospital.
They were able to put out the fire before the house burnt down.
You're driving too fast. Slow down.
Calm down. There's no point in getting angry.
I'm trying to cut down on coffee. I drink too much of it.
The car broke down and I had to phone for help.
Their marriage broke down after only a few months.
There used to be a shop at the end of the street. It closed down a few years ago.
You can always rely on Paul. He'll never let you down.
I applied for several jobs, but I was turned down for all of them.
Rachel was offered the job, but she decided to turn it down.
I can't remember Tim's address. I wrote it down, but I can't find it.
A man came up to me in the street and asked me for money.
I'm not ready to go yet. You go on and I'll catch up with you.
Or,
I'm not ready to go yet. You go on and I'll catch you up. You're walking too fast. I can't keep up.
You're doing well. Keep it up.
The government has set up a committee to investigate the problem.
Laura took up photography a few years ago. She takes really good pictures.
We've fixed up a meeting for next Monday.
Anne was born in Hong Kong, but grew up in Australia.
Her parents died when she was a child, and she was brought up by her grandparents.
Look at this mess. Who's going to tidy up?
I hate washing up.
There was a fight in the street and 3 men ended up in hospital.
I couldn't find a hotel and ended up sleeping on a bench at the station. Don't give up. Keep trying.
Sue got bored with her job and decided to give it up.
Children under 16 make up half the population of the city. Air is made up mainly of nitrogen and oxygen.
Most of the space in the room was taken up by a large table. We arranged to meet David last night, but he didn't turn up.
I'm going to make some soup. We have a lot of vegetables and I want to use them up. I don't want to hear any more about this matter. Please don't bring it up again.
Some interesting points came up in our discussion yesterday.
Sarah is very creative. She's always coming up with new ideas.
What Kevin told you about himself wasn't true. He made it all up.
You look so sad. Cheer up.
Helen is depressed at the moment. What can we do to cheer her up?
Dan is saving up for a trip round the world.
It was raining when I got up, but it cleared up later.
The engine caught fire and blew up.
The bridge was blown up during the war.
I didn't read the letter. I just tore it up and threw it away.
A friend of mine was attacked and beaten up a few days ago. He was badly hurt and had to go to hospital.
I'm surprised to hear that Sue and Paul have split up. They seemed very happy together. It's quite cold. Do up your coat before you go out.
The kitchen looks great now that it has been done up.
If you don't know the meaning of a word, you can look it up in a dictionary.
We live on a busy road, so we have to put up with a lot of noise from the traffic.
Don't wait for me. I don't want to hold you up.
Plans to build a new factory have been held up because of the company's financial problems.
The 2 brothers look very similar. Many people mix them up.
Or,
Many people get them mixed up.
we're going away on holiday today.
We'll be back in 3 weeks.
The woman got into her car, started the engine and drove away. I'm going out now.
What time will you be back?
I tried to take a picture of the bird, but it flew away.
After eating at a restaurant, we walked back to our hotel.
I dropped the ticket and it blew away in the wind.
I've still got Jane's keys. I forgot to give them back to her.
The police searched the house and took away a computer. When you've finished with that book, can you put it back on the shelf? We tried to catch the thief, but she managed to get away.
I parked in a no parking zone, but I got away with it. I didn't have to pay a fine.
Keep away from the edge of the pool. You might fall in. Did you sell your old computer?
No, I gave it away.
When the children had finished playing with their toys, they put them away.
I kept the letter, but I threw away the envelope.
I waved to her and she waved back. I can't talk to you now. I'll call you back in 10 minutes. I sent him an email, but he never got back to me.
My first job was in a travel agency. I didn't like it very much at the time, but looking back on it, I learnt a lot, and it was a very useful experience.
If you borrow money, you have to pay it back.
Thanks for lending me the money. I'll pay you back next week.